Just arrived in the post is what I think is going to be a broken atomic. And there we have it. This is one of the brown atomics, which you may not know this, but it's got a lovely badge there. But if you sanded all of this brown off, which you can do with a little hand sander, you would end up with a beautiful aluminium atomic. And the reason this has been sent to me is because the steam arm here has sheared off. If you do ever buy an atomic in this condition, or you're unlucky enough to shear off that fitting there when you're trying to undo it, which is quite easy to do because it's soft brass fitting going into steel and aluminium, and those metals, different types of metals, once you heat them up and cool them down over many years and let a little bit of oxidation creep in, you might as well weld the two of them together. You're almost never going to get that out, and in my experience the only way to get that fitting out is actually to drill it out and then re-tap the threads and then go along to Bond Trading and get another one of these fittings here. So we're going to attempt to do that for somebody who contacted me via our YouTube channel. So I'm just doing this as a favour, and the one thing he does understand is that I may cock this up. I've done a few of these before, but there's no point in trying to use an easy out, reverse drill bit to get that out. All you'll end up doing is split the machine down here, which I did the first time I tried to do it. So the way forward is just to get some sharp drill bits and drill this out and re-tap the threads. The easy bit first, and that is just separating this shaft from this fitting here, which we're going to need to replace. Unscrewed this outer ring here. If you just hold on to this, you should be able to just unscrew this red knob all the way so the shaft comes all the way out. Like so. Now you can see there's a whole load of seals here, and these will all need replacing. So we will replace these with seals from Bond Trading. You can see that some of these seals are broken, which they will do over time, and they will just cause small steam leaks in your machine, and thus you won't have the correct pressure for steaming your milk. So just before we get started, this atomic coffee machine is going to need a seal kit. That seal kit includes the rubber seal for the steam knob, a seal for up here, and all the seals that go in this fitting here, including the one that sits there. It's also going to need a new steam knob here, which we've got, and while we're at it, we will hopefully be able to get rid of those rusty screws and replace them with some stainless steel ones. So 9 times out of 10, when you try and undo these screws, the heads will snap off, and that won't affect the coffee in any way, shape or form, but it's quite difficult to drill those fittings out once they have snapped off. But that one has come out just fine. Let's try this one here. This one is coming out fine as well, which is good. Once you've got those screws out, this will just lift out. Now this top seal here, incidentally, is not an atomic top seal, but it's the same size as the Bialetti machines, the sort of hexagonal screw together machines that you can get. So you can actually get this seal in the UK, and they're not expensive at all. What we may do is just give this a little clean with a Dremel tool while we're in here and get rid of some of this crud in here. Obviously, if the seal isn't seated properly, once again, you'll get steam leaks through there and water dripping into your coffee. The only place in the world that you can get genuine atomic parts is this company here, Bond Trading in Oxford Street in Sydney, run by a lovely lady called Irene, and they are the sole importers, I believe, of the atomic coffee machine as well, so you can still get atomic coffee machines. This is the part you need here. I happened to bring one back with me last time I was in Australia, and that's what we'll be aiming to replace. And this screwed in part here is what is broken on this atomic. So we will be aiming to drill that out, then recut these threads, put new seals in, and that should be job done. These are the seal, or this is the seal set that you need for the atomic. It comes with the seal on the steam knob here, which the steam knob comes with that seal, but this will give you a spare. It comes with a top silicon seal, 2 thin washers, 3 silicone washers and a brass washer, and lovely handwritten instructions how to fit it all. And of course, that warning, take care of unscrewing the section X. If it's too tight, it can break, which of course it usually does, or often does. Let's start by replacing the simple stuff. This here should screw out nice and easily. Now you can tell a fake atomic because they use Phillips screws in here instead of the slotted screw. Once you take, oh my lordy, that's not good. I don't know if we've got any of those screws, but ideally we need to replace that screw. That's just really manky. And this should just then come off. Then this piece comes off. Then these 3, that's the brass washer there. I don't know why that's got a brass washer there. Shouldn't have. These 2 washers here. And then another brass washer. So the order of events is the new brass washer goes on first. The silicone washers go on next. Like so. Next, this bit slides over. Then this goes on like so. And then you put the screw in. Once you've assembled everything, this will just screw back in there. These can be quite a tight fit when you first put them on, but that will eventually screw in there like so. We're not going to put that in first because we're going to need to tighten this into the machine. Now the seal kit comes with 2 washers that you're going to need, these 2 here. One of these washers is for sealing this fitting to the machine, and the other washer is for going in there between the steam arm and this piece here. We won't use those yet. We'll actually drill this section out first. The thing this machine needs is a new one of these. Now, if you're ever doing this yourself, those top screws in there should be M3 times 10 mil. M3 times 10 mil. These are stainless steel ones, and that will avoid them going rusty in the future. Now, sometimes when you are putting these screws in, like here, you'll find that the screws are not actually drilled deep enough. The holes in the atomic are not drilled deep enough to take a 10 mil screw, so you can just either buy shorter screws. Like you'll notice that the screws that came out of this particular machine are 5 mil screws, 5 mil long and not 10 mil long, so you can just buy shorter ones, M3 5 mil, or you can just get an angle grinder and chop the screws off. The secret to drilling that out is to use new sharp drill bits. So we're going to use a new 10, 12, 13 and 14. You don't really want to go much bigger than 14, otherwise you'll start drilling into the machine. This one is proving slightly tricky because of this edge here. Okay, we've got the old brass bit of the fitting out, and now we have to try and drill this little bit out here without damaging the machine. So we have a problem with this machine because the person who owns this machine is trying to get this fitting out. It was no longer around, so when we've drilled it out, the drill has not gone in there completely square. So this piece of the fitting here is thicker than this piece here. This piece has maybe got 1.5 mil on it, and this piece on this side is almost touching the threads already. And the problem is we would normally put a 12 mil drill bit in there to drill that last fitting out and then tap it. If we put a 12 mil drill bit in there, we will touch the side of the machine. So we've got 2 choices. We can either put an 11 mil drill bit in there, or I can take it to a machine shop and see what they suggest. Just got this atomic back from the machine shop. Now they managed to get that fitting out without damaging the machine. If we had attempted to drill that out ourselves, with the equipment that we've got, we may well have damaged those threads, and then you'd be into a whole world of pain. So they charge us £10 to do that, which is extremely reasonable. I do use them for lots of other things as well. Now, before you can put that on, you need to put the steam arm on this black washer and this green washer here. Order of events is as follows. You put the thin black washer on first. Once again, I put the green side facing up. Then you thread the steam arm through that. Then you'll put the green washer on, and I will put the green washer with the green side facing the machine. Now, this is quite a tight fit, so you'll have to kind of screw that onto there first. You've got a choice of how you angle this, but what's important to realize is that this is not supposed to move around. Once you tighten that up, this is going to be in a fixed position. It's not like the Otto where the steam arm moves up and down. On this machine here, this is our daily machine, the steam arm is pointed straight down, which I think is the best position for it. Some people like to have it kind of at that position there. I'm just going to have it pointed straight down like that. When you come to tighten that fitting up, you can either use a plumber's wrench that way round and tighten it, or you can use an open spanner. But sometimes you'll have difficulty with the spanners, etc., hitting this steam arm, which is why I use an open, plumber's wrench like that. Just a word of warning, when you come to tighten this fitting up here, do not overdo it. You do not want to strip the threads in this machine here. And you just need it to be tight enough so it doesn't leak. And if it does leak, you can just twist that a little bit more so it doesn't leak. Tighten that on, you can just screw this fitting here in. Now, we've put the new washers, the 3 silicone food grade washers and the brass washer on there. The way this plate goes in is you put the plate in first, then you put the screws in, and then you feed the seal in like that. The proof is in the pudding. We just used the old coffee basket from a coffee we've just had, old coffee grinds in there. That will make it slightly more difficult for the water to get through. And that will give us a good idea of whether any of these seals are leaking, either the top seal, these seals, or this seal. They're all new. That's a new steam knob, new top seal, and all new seals in here. As I say, only time will tell. We've got coffee coming through. Now that will look over extracted because we're using used coffee grinds from that machine over there, but I can't see any leaks coming from either here, or around the top there. Sometimes you'll get water dribbling down, so I think we can pretty much say job done. What we will do is just run a fresh coffee through here just to make sure that everything is tickety-boo. Once the sound of the coffee machine changes like that, let's just see if we're actually... Whoa, look at that pressure, that is quite spectacular. Before I finish this video, it is worth showing you what has just come out of this coffee machine. Wow, I've seen some sediment in my time in these coffee machines, but that looks like a beach in the bottom there, so this will have to be washed out and run through several times to get rid of all of that before you can actually use it for coffee. And you can see lots of little metal shavings in there as well, where either that's from drilling out the bit or more likely from trying to get it out before it went to the machine shop. I've run water through here 3 or 4 times, and you can see there's still a huge amount of rubbish coming out of this machine. For every atomic coffee machine is different, and the amount of coffee you get out of it will be dependent on a few factors, but one of the most important ones is how far the tube that runs through here sits off the bottom. And this machine here, for example, takes significantly more water than this machine here, and that looks like a very strong coffee that's coming through there. It will take a little while for this machine to get back into the swing of things, but you can see that there is no problem with the pressure. Possibly the hole on that side is slightly blocked up, but with the amount of junk that's in this machine, that doesn't surprise me. You can obviously just unscrew that and just get a set of mole grips around there, put a dish towel or something so you don't damage the fitting, unscrew it, and then just tap it out. If you simply just get a needle or a pin and you unblock the hole that way, all you're doing is you're pushing the whatever's blocking it just back inside for it to block another time.
What's that smell?
That smell is the smell of WD-40 or plus gas or whatever penetrating oil the owner of this machine was using to try and get that fitting out. Just a word of advice, don't use penetrating oils or anything like that on these machines. The aluminium will tend to absorb that, and it takes an awful long time to get rid of the taste of it. Here's what the coffee grinds look like, and you can see if you look carefully there's all sorts of little metal shavings in there and bits and pieces that shouldn't be in there. So as I mentioned, I'm going to leave the video here, but this machine is going to need to have coffee and water run through it several more times to get rid of all of that and any trace of whatever that penetrating fluid was. The only place to get genuine replacement atomic parts is from these guys here, Bond Trading on Oxford Street, Sydney, Australia. You can see that that section there that we replaced, $45. It is out of stock at the moment. You can see they pretty much sell everything you're going to need: the steam knob, the gasket kit, the basket, and of course the atomic t-shirt. The screws that hold the top filler plate on, we use this company here, Accu, for those screws, plus a whole host of other things. They've got a great website, generally deliver the next day. Not the cheapest company you'll ever find, but they do have really high quality fittings. So the screws there, 10p each. The tap you'll need to clean up the threads once you've drilled that fitting out. You can get this from a company called Avon Tap and Die in Bristol. This is the company here, Avon Tap and Die, and that's what you need there. BSP 1/4 inch, 19, actually for a set of two there, £12.22.